Hello again. Dr. Don Russell here. I'm an expert in helping women prosper and flourish in extremely difficult relationships to narcissist husbands. So today I want to talk with you and I want to walk you through something that I think is going to be both eye-opening and for many of you deeply validating. We're going to explore the top 5 things that smart women do to try and fix their marriage that actually make it worse. So these aren't silly mistakes. These aren't goofs. These are efforts that intelligent, well-meaning women make who love deeply and who are invested and fight for their marriage, but they're fighting in the wrong direction. So here's the problem. If you're in a relationship with someone who is emotionally immature and narcissistic or manipulative, these good directions, these strategies that should help, should heal, they actually reinforce the problem. They actually make it worse. So let's unpack it all. The first strategy that backfires is the trying to be nicer, the trying to keep the peace strategy. Now, this one makes perfect sense on the surface. The woman thinks to herself, maybe if I'm softer, maybe if I'm more patient, maybe if I'm less reactive, maybe, like for, religious women will say, or will be told, to be more submissive. If she does those things, then he'll calm down too. But here's what's actually happening that makes it worse. See, when you're over-accommodating, you're actually training the system to reward bad behavior. So instead of earning respect, you shrink. Instead of getting to be treated with more dignity, you're actually made to feel small. And he feels more entitled to his power. So, don't get me wrong, of course, being calm is good, but being agreeable to avoid conflict, that's not kindness anymore. That is self-silencing, self-censoring, self-abandonment. It backfires. It backfires. It makes it worse. Here's the second strategy. Lots of women will say, hey, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get him to come with me to couples counseling. This might be the most common mistake, and at the same time, the most heartbreaking, the most tragic. You see, when your partner lacks emotional accountability, couples therapy, instead of being a healing place, instead of being a bridge to a better place, it becomes a battleground, it becomes a blame fest, and it becomes weaponized against you. See, he'll twist the narrative, right? Learn the therapy vocabulary and then use it against you. And then the session becomes about your tone, right? About how you're upset, about how you've got trauma, and about your issues, when that's really not what it's about at all. See, here's the truth. Couples counseling only really works when both people are equally invested in the growth, equally committed to finding the truth, and equally committed to opening themselves up to new ideas, new ways of approaching. Otherwise, it just gives him more language to manipulate you. Here's number 3. The strategy of over-explaining, over-talking, over-justifying. This usually shows up when one of you are trying to be clear or trying to be transparent. You think in your mind, if I can just explain, if I can just get my point across, if I can just walk him through the logic of my perspective, he'll understand. But here's the thing. If someone is committed to misunderstanding you, if someone is committed to having a fight, no amount of careful words is going to change that. It just puts you in a reactive position, and all of your explaining, all of your logicking actually gives him more ammunition. So basically trying to, get empathy or earn empathy from someone emotionally unavailable, emotionally unaccountable, again, only makes you feel more invisible, invalidated, and dismissed. It doesn't work. Number 4, waiting for the right moment. This one is a little more subtle. You keep hoping that maybe after the next vacation, maybe after the next, life event, maybe, the kids leaving home, or maybe after, the next meltdown and, things will reset. But cycles of emotional abuse don't actually self-correct. They only reinforce the status quo. The waiting reinforces the status quo. It's just, another lap around the track, another run around the bases. The longer you wait, this is kind of the crux of the problem. The longer you wait for the right moment, the more exhausted, resentful, and hopeless you feel. And the more confident he becomes that you're not going to back up your talk with your walk. So hope without action, that's not faith. That's denial. So waiting for the right moment to bring it up, to talk about it, to resolve it, doesn't work. Number 5, trying to get him to understand how much he's hurting you. This one is the most painful. I think this one is the most tragic of all of them, because it comes from you putting out there your deepest need, you taking the initiative of vulnerability and transparency, coming from your own need to be seen, to be heard, to be validated that you matter. And so you break down in tears, you share your heart, maybe you write him a letter, which is a little safer, and you pour out your heart, you pour out the pain in hopes that if he can just understand where I'm coming from, he'll empathize and he'll respond with his vulnerability and better behavior, basically, bottom line. But here's what you need to understand. And you might need to sit down for this. He already knows. He already knows. And if he genuinely cared how he felt, he would have shown it by now. If he was actually genuinely other-centered, he would have demonstrated that. And so you're continuing to try and appeal to his empathy just gives him more power, and it drains your power. It gives your power away. So that's really bad news. The question that you're asking to yourself is, Dr. Don, is there anything that does work to turn this around? I've got good news and bad news, I guess. Let's put it that way. The bad news that he's not going to change. You've pleaded, you've tried all of those ways to get change from him. They haven't worked. And so the ball is in your court. If things are going to change, it's going to be because you change your game. Not changing who you are. Don't ever change who you are. It's not becoming somebody new, and it's not faking something that's not genuine. It's none of that. But it does mean you doing some inside work to become more grounded, more boundaried, and more emotionally immune, so that you no longer feed and contribute to the dysfunction, right? You no longer are participating in the dysfunctional system that enables all of this craziness. That is where everything shifts. So the good news is that when you do that, the system shifts, everything shifts. And you don't need him to change for your change to begin. So if you've been doing these things that I've described already, please don't shame yourself. You're a smart woman. doing things that seem like smart things to do, because you've been taught to be generous-hearted, to be giving, to be sacrificing, right? They're normally good things. And if you're ready to step out of the chaos and find something new, to create something new, that's what we teach. That's what we provide for you in our Detox Your Marriage coaching program. If you want to find out more about that, I invite you to join the school community. Click the link below and get your clarity back, get your dignity back, get your respect back, because you don't have to leave the marriage unless you want to, but you don't have to leave the marriage to get your life back. But you have to stop doing the things that are not working. Let's change the story, all right?